welcome to our Tuesday comic review show. This is where we are reviewing the new stuff that came out this week, and we can hook you up if you need any of this stuff added to your pull list or if you want to set one up. So,
spoiler reviews,
yeah,
mind you.
Clarity.
So, which that takes real finesse. You know, it's easy just to blurt out everything. A lot harder to be like, let me tell you about this comic so you might know if you like it or not.
Tiptoe around the meat of it.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I'll give the first attempt. So, one of the big books this week is Venom Number 29. So, owning and running a comic shop, we have the pleasure to get to read things as soon as they release. This comic arrived, I guess, at UPS at 9 in the morning. We had it at 9:30 in the morning, and here we are already, talking about it. So some big things happen. Without spoiling too much, what I can say is you do learn his origin in this issue, and it's very interesting. They also clarify a certain person's power set. I kind of knew. I think a lot have been talking about it, and we all had ideas. But there's a power set, a major one, that gets very clarified as to what a certain character can and can't do. So if you like Venom and you've been reading it, this is sort of a must-read issue. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying there's any major first appearances or anything like that. Eddie Brock's ex-wife is still in it from the other universe. Everything that goes down with that, very cool. They show some other characters from that universe, and I have to say, it got me interested. I want to read more about the universe they came from, which seems like a very brutal place. In fact, I learned exactly how brutal it is.
Was it the Ultimate Universe? Is that what we kind of...
I don't think so. I think it's a different one.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% clear on that. But
I want to read more about it. Well, do I have some good news for you?
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen these characters from it.
Okay,
this is in fact, it's not, because this is a more Venomized universe.
Okay. Is
where they're coming from. So some very cool variants. Here is the Stegman variant. Let me get it at a good angle there. The light's not hidden. And that one is just cover price. Then we have the Fortnite variant. And yes, it has that llama in the corner there. And we also have these 1 in 25 Stegman sketch variants. Sometimes you see the thing in black and white and it's like, oh, I like the color. This one works really well in black and white with just the title being in red. So this is just $20. So while supplies last.
$20. I wash my face with $20. Just kidding. That would be the most disgusting thing.
That's so gross. Why would you say that?
No idea.
So I got a chance to read what is probably... It's a book that people have been talking about for a while. This is Dark Knight's Death Metal Robin King.
Yeah.
And so I feel like very similar with Punchline. We've been getting little droplets of an origin story. We found out that Robin King is a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Not like Dick Grayson or anything. We got that in I believe the
Legends of the Dark Knight, yeah.
Right.
Robin King's first appearance.
We also found out about, that he's not really spoiler to say, we know this, that he's the one responsible for his parents' death.
Yep.
He's a horrible child. Just the worst child.
And yet still Bruce Wayne. So
still Bruce Wayne, so he's super smart.
Yeah.
This definitely takes that... I would say it's a continuation of that story that we saw. It starts out at the funeral of his parents, and it's kind of narrated by Alfred, which we also know is not a great thing.
Poor Alfred.
I know.
He's had a brutal year.
Yeah. You're reading the whole thing, and you're like, this is not going to end up well. But it's basically the further origin about how little Bruce Wayne became the Robin King, why he chose a Robin as his mantra, which seems very convenient considering another universe he has Robins. One thing I will say, it's not a spoiler, it's just a really cool page. There is a two-page spread, and if you've been reading stuff with Robin King, he always talks about his utility belt. Let me tell you what's in my utility belt. I'm going to do this and this to you with it. It lays out his utility belt and has a little graph with numbers, and it tells you all the different things that are his utility belt. and it's some pretty messed up stuff, but also stuff that we recognize. There's something that looked like a little fetus crammed into a little jar, and I was like,
no.
"What's that?"
Ugh.
It tells you. There's bullets made for every version of the Justice League.
Wow.
So it was a really fun page to like look at it and be like, okay, there's number 2. Now go over here to like the little legend and be like, okay, number 2 is, oh wow, that's crazy.
That's very cool. I almost picture like instead of bat shark repellent, he has something he can spray to bring sharks. You know,
What would that be? Shark appellant. I don't. And also a thing I did not know we were getting in this issue. There is a second story at the end that does not involve the Robin King. It is actually the character The Signal, which we know Duke Thomas, versus a new Batman that I don't think we have seen before. If you know the character Chemo, the big, made of like all this liquid, he fought the Metal Men recently or whatever. Just think of that, like a messed up bat version of that. But yeah, I turned the page like, oh cool, there's a whole new evil Batman and everything. So definitely a one that is a must read if you're reading Death Metal, or if you just like really fun kind of alternate world takes on things. You'll really like this one. It's written by Pete Tomasi and art by Riley Rossimo. So really cool.
that's cool.
All right, speaking of more DC stuff, we have out today the highly anticipated Batman White presents Harley Quinn. And if you guys read any of the first 2 miniseries, especially the first one, you know that what they did with Harley Quinn, what Sean Murphy did with Harley Quinn in this series was extremely groundbreaking and just brought something completely new to the character. Really enjoyed everything he did with it. So it's high time she had her own miniseries devoted to her. So this is actually written by Sean Murphy's wife, and it is art with another person that he's worked with on a previous series before. So together they're all really close, and even though Sean Murphy, he's overseeing the project, he isn't doing the art or the writing on this, but like I said, his wife and people very close to him are. So it almost tricks you. You almost think that it is him for a while, but this sees Harley Quinn. Here's the variant. She has 2 children in this series. So we get to see her sort of, in the beginning, mini spoiler, she's telling them a bedtime story of how she met the Joker before he was actually the Joker. So that was a really cool scene there. And in this we see a Harley Quinn who is not, she's not super crazy. She's not off the rails, but she still has that obsessive attitude that makes her who she is. So must read for other people who liked the White Knight series.
The Murphyverse.
Yeah, the Murphyverse as it's happening. Absolutely must read. And here is the variant cover.
It's also cool because the current in continuity Harley Quinn series is over.
Yes.
If you need more Harley Quinn, your life has been lacking. It's a whole new series.
I mean, I need to read it just to see, where these kids came from.
I know.
So.
Yeah, it was really good.
Are they adopted? Are they Joker kids? Are they?
So this is $4.99.
Ooh, you're writing your own story.
So yeah, just $4.99 for both the A cover and the variant. Glad they didn't jack the price up on the variant on that either. So.
Okay, so next up from Marvel is Spider-Woman number 100. Did you guys know that her series has gone that high this year? Like 99 was before it and 98. No, it's issue 100, the 100th issue that she's been in all her series. She's had several series over the year, and I mean that's a big deal. 100 issues with one character, that matters. I mean, maybe that's like their version of syndication.
Yeah.
But the regular cover is by Greg Land. I read the issue, and it was a very brutal issue. There's a lot of messed up fighting, a lot of fighting between family members. Her mom is in it, sort of as a villain. It's pretty cool. And then the comic ends with a bunch of homage covers. It's like a series of some of her best covers done by different artists. So it's interesting. And even though it is taking place during the current storyline, they catch you up at the beginning, and I still really enjoyed it. There are a lot of cool variants.
I love
Here
this one.
is the horror variant. figure out what my best angle is. Spider-Woman by Night. Then we have this variant by that's the Yoon, I believe.
Yep.
The first one, and then here is the
Yeah.
Art Germ variant. And then this is it's a series of variants they're doing. It's against villains.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought heroes versus villains? What next? Here, of course, is Scotty Young.
Which is kind of funny. That's like an homage to those other covers, like the Wolverine and stuff, that use a lot of the negative space.
Then, of course, we got the Peach Momoko cover.
Does not look like regular Momoko stuff to me, but
I don't know. She likes to do like the wispiness, and
okay.
she puts a lot of nature in her stuff.
The colors are a lot deeper, I feel.
And then lastly, it is the same one, but this is the 1 in 100 for it.
Ooh.
It doesn't have the trade dress. Lets the art really shine and sing for itself. We only have one of these, $40 while it lasts.
Well, cool. So, the other thing I got to read is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 50.LR, which stands for Last Remains. It's part of the big story arc going on right now in Amazing Spider-Man. And even in the letters column, it's like, hey, why wasn't this included in the main series? Because the story's just too big. And then they're like, yeah, we know that's kind of like a editor talk for making, spin-off issues. But this does actually go really important to the main Spider-Man storyline with Kindred. But this explores a lot of the other Spider family in this situation. And they've been kind of transformed into, if you see the cover of the next issue, kind of these weird like monster versions of themselves. Really cool, great art, written by Nick Spencer, who is the current writer of Amazing Spider-Man, so it definitely fits. Like, it just, pick it up right after issue 50. And there's a return of a character on the last page that has not been in the series for a while. But, yeah, I was about to say something that would have spoiled it, but I refrained. Super cool spoiler.
I love this. This is really good cover.
I love the Spider family. And yeah, you have them all there. So for sure, if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man, or you want to read this Last Remains story, this will be a must-read in that current story arc.
Okay, more DC. And if I didn't say it enough, you didn't know, we sell our DC comics on Tuesdays, so if you need to come get the Harley Quinn Presents, or White Knight Presents Harley Quinn, or Batman 101 today, you can. So Batman 101, I haven't got a chance to read this yet, but I know a lot about it because of our Friday show, where we preview everything. This is after the events of the Joker War. We need a sort of a break issue that's going to set the stage for what's happening in the future. In this issue, Batman has some really tough and important talks with Lucius Fox and with Catwoman. So, like I said, setting the stage for the post-Joker War storyline. So, going to be an important one before issue 102, of course. So, a lot of you were on Joker War. And maybe you didn't have Batman on your pull list after that's over, so definitely let us know if you still want to continue reading it, because James Tynion is the bomb, and he's a great writer. So, this is the variant cover, and it's super dark.
Yeah, it's Grifter on it.
It does have Grifter on it.
I will say, I actually read this issue before I even read issue 100, because we got a preview, a digital preview of it. So I do know that there is a couple of things mentioned in this that I feel like are definitely setting the stage for this next year.
Mm-hmm.
A name of like an organization is dropped that we haven't heard. That Batman's like, hey, you mentioned this thing. Grifter is in this issue.
It better be.
The thing you mentioned about Batman and Catwoman, I feel like is really important, because it's basically them, talking about their relationship and what the current, it hasn't been really addressed too heavy in the last little bit because
Yeah.
Batman's been a little busy
Yes.
with Joker, but that is addressed basically. We know what's going to happen with that.
Cool.
And you can tell Jim Lee, I think he's done a great job over at DC, and he's like, put one of my characters back in this. Grifter is gonna go in this.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I think that's really awesome. I think he deserves it, especially for all the nice things he's done for comic shops with all the
Yes.
things he drew during the beginning of the pandemic. So,
Yep.
Jim Lee, I know you're watching. Thank you. So there you go. You get your thanks. Okay, so the next one I read is a new one by Rick Remender called Scumbag. A very strong title in a certain sense. Okay, so what is this about? This is about a guy who is the lower dregs of society. I mean, we're talking he's a drug addict, he's a womanizer, he's going nowhere, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. Well, he gets mixed up with some stuff and ends up getting a superhero serum that was supposed to go to somebody else. And, well, they needed it to go to the right person because the world needs saving. So now it's up to him, the worst individual, like somebody you wouldn't even trust to probably like wash your car. They'd probably key it and try to rob you. And now they're trying to talk this guy into doing good for the world. As much as he writes some very big, awesome stuff, like Seven to Eternity, he got his start in sort of comedic writing. He likes to do a lot of humor. So this is very dark humor. It's for people out there who like Preacher, The Boys. So it has a few variants. Here is the B cover. Look how groovy he is with the hypodermic needle behind him. Here is the 1 in 10 variant. We only have a few of these, just $10. Passed Out, but it sort of looks like it's on the cover of an adventure book, like an old style adventure book. This is funny. So here's the blank variant.
Artist.
We were talking. What you do is you buy this one and you hire an artist like Andy Dugan, and you have them draw somebody you don't like on it. And they're the scumbag. Yeah. And then you present it to them. And lastly, here is the 1 in 25 variant for only $15. We got the good deals here. So there is that.
Cool.
So next, I wasn't intending to like read this one in depth because we have a lot of stuff to read, and so I was just gonna skim or whatever. And I ended up like reading it more than I read a normal book. I read this and I was like, I need to go back and read this part. Okay, let me go read this part. So this is Fantastic Four number 25, which kind of kicks off a new jumping on point for Fantastic Four, because they were heavily involved with Empire. This is the first kind of post-Empire story, and kind of sets up where they're going to go from here on for the foreseeable future. It does introduce Franklin and Valeria's new costumes. They've got new costumes now that they're in the Fantastic Four, even though Franklin, as you know, is a mutant. And he's like, I don't want to be a Fantastic Four. I'm listening to Dazzler on my iPod, and I'm just being a mutant now. There's a great scene with him and Johnny Storm about that. Him being this rebellious, I'm exploring my X-Men side. But there's also a new cosmic threat that comes. There is a new kind of, I don't want to say a MacGuffin, but there's an item that may even tie it into a little bit what was going on with Thor, some big cosmic stuff. There's just a whole lot in this issue. It's a $5.99, so it's a little bit bigger than your average issue. And I definitely think this is a great jumping on point. You've got Ben Grimm's new kids that he adopted post-Empire.
The Kree and Skrull children.
The Skrull girl is really funny because she's like, I can change what I look like constantly. And so you can imagine that turns into a lot of very humorous things. But yeah, this is, I think, a really good issue. A great place to jump on. They could have easily called this a number one. Thankfully they didn't. We've got a lot of number ones out there.
Yeah.
But definitely check out this Fantastic Four. We've got some awesome variant covers. I believe this is the Bradshaw variant. Just a classic team variant. And we got the wordy Scotty Young, kind of an homage of that original Fantastic Four cover. This one, which I think is super awesome.
Yeah.
This is the Art Germ Doctor Doom variant, who Doctor Doom is in this issue, which I think he's probably the most interesting of the Fantastic Four characters. So yeah, definitely, if you haven't been reading Fantastic Four and want to, perfect place to jump on.
And speaking of Doom real quick, I know he's been at a point lately where he's like pretty much just about turned hero, which is interesting too.
Okay, well, since you just talked about Fantastic Four, one other variant out this week for Fantastic Four is this Alex Ross Black Bolt Timeless variant. And I'm going to show you the other Timeless variants that have come out this week, because that's what I'm starting with.
He's so regal.
I love Black Bolt.
He's got a great costume. He's got one of the best
He
costumes
does.
in comics.
So we have, I love this one because it almost looks metallic there on his costume. So this is available this week. We have the other Alex Ross covers, which are Cyclops, Spider-Woman,
That hair.
Yeah. She teased it up.
Nightcrawler,
This one's great. Those eyes really
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, he really makes him look sort of demonic the
Yeah.
way that he originally was kind of
Speaking of
conceived.
demons,
and Daredevil. So those are all the Alex Ross covers that are new this week. We have plenty on the shelf, so if you need some, let us know. Lots of people are pulling all of these because they are amazing, and I love seeing them on the shelf, just making the shop look pretty. So there you go. I'll show
Okay,
you guys
also
some
out
ratios later.
from Marvel is Werewolf by Night #1. This is, I believe, the third volume of Werewolf by Night.
wow.
Yeah, he's only had 2 previous series. Everyone knows the first one because of some major first appearances
Moon
in
Knight,
it.
yeah.
Moon Knight. The second one, people don't really see it too often. I think it came out in the 90s. We had a set come through lately. Well, anyway, they finally gave him another series. He's been popping up in places lately. He's been in The Ruins of Ravencroft and all that. He's kind of doing secret agenty things these days, sort of covert for the government stuff. What I'll say about this issue is it was not a quick read. Some comics you read and you're like, oh, that was cool, but it's done already. This one took me probably twice as long to read. There is a lot of narration, a lot of explaining things. It is still action-packed, though. It also leans towards the weird and the macabre. Without revealing too much, they meet a guy who has all these tentacles on his head that is data hacking. They're all in like hacking ports, so if you think that's cool, that's in the issue. And the last thing I'll say is they're not in it much, but there are other monsters, dare I say comparable monsters that pop up as a surprise towards the end. It has a few variants. The only one I'm showing though right now that I have is the Veregi variant. This is one of the Native American inspired variants.
You can really see it in the eyes and the teeth. It's hard to see on camera, but it is there.
It's also co-written by Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas. So
Yeah.
where is the love for that?
Pretty. Andy and
I
I had a
forgot
lot of
about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We were just making Black Eyed Peas puns all day. Okay, next I will show off. Let's see. So I've got some variants and just some cool stuff here. So this is for Something is Killing the Children. We have this beautiful Frizen variant. If you remember, Frizen did a variant cover for #1.
That was the cover of the trade paperback.
Yeah, they ended
one
up
of
using
them.
that for the trade. And then we have the 1 per store variant for only $25. But really nice covers. Something is Killing the Children, also by James Tynan, who has made a previous appearance on this show.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I want to get to new stuff, but since I just showed this off, I'll continue to do it. This is the 1 in 100 sketch variant for Black Bolt, like I just showed you, for $70. And as someone was telling me the other day, these covers actually connect, the 1 in 100s. Of course, the other ones don't. They're just single images, but if you are collecting these, then they do connect, as you can tell by the background.
They don't come with just random shoulders. They're there for no reason.
And then here's the Cyclops 1 in 100 for $40.
Wow, that is a good price.
you kind of get half of a Jean Grey on there
Yeah,
too.
you do. Bonus. A little bit of an angel, I think.
Is it her good half?
And then
Her good side.
$40, the Alex Rox 1 in 100 Spider-Woman variant. You can see the fine details of that 80s hair.
I was about to say, you get all of her hair.
All right, that's all the 1 in 100 sketches I have for Alex Ross this week.
Okay, so the next one I read Iron Man number 2. So a lot of people picked up number 1. It was very fast. It was very funny. Iron Man is hanging out a lot with Hellcat, and I like it.
Yeah.
They're a really cool duo. She doesn't put up with his crap, but they're not fighting either. They're friends, and I kind of like that. They get along well, but she puts him in his place. This issue moves very fast. I mean, it starts out he's in a boxing match out of nowhere. I can't say without spoiling, but there's a very fun X-Men villain in it. There's also a Spider-Man villain shows up later in that I have not seen since the 90s. I'm sure he's been back, but if you read 90s Spider-Man, you'll be like, whoa, you're in this. That's awesome. So I think it's been really fun. I think Iron Man's had to go through a lot of real dark times, and this is not at all that way. He's trying to be different. He's not just cracking jokes, but they're keeping it a little lighter. It read like how you want a comic to read. That's what I'd say about it.
Number 1 really impressed me. Just very witty, but not like he wasn't an unbearable Tony Stark. He's very likable.
Yeah, right. He's a bit more charming than arrogant.
Yes.
Again. It has a very cool Alex Ross cover, and then it has some variants. Here is this one.
It's a Fortnite.
Yep, the Fortnite variants with the characters that I don't know, but my niece does, maybe.
Love
here
this
is
one.
The horror one. The Iron Man thing. Yeah, that's a good one. And then we do have the 1 in 25 scan variant for just $15. All right.
Next, I'll talk about just one little old book. This is Thor number 7 second print. And if you read it, you know who that man is on the cover. He is that
Farmer Thor.
Yeah, he's cheap car mechanic Thor.
Yeah, that's right. He was a car mechanic. Yeah.
But really cool. This is, of course, just a panel from the book, but I don't know. It works really well as a cover, also with the new Thor. I forgot he has a certain name or something.
Yeah, even though he doesn't really stick around too much, they tend to not forget anyone who's picked up the hammer.
Right.
So I mean, not that he's coming back soon, but I just feel like there'll be more on him somehow, even if it's small.
All right, I'll go through a couple of these real quick. So this is Stillwater number 2, written by Chip Zdarsky, about a town where the people don't die, and that's not a good thing here. So this is Image Skybound. A lot of people signed up for number 1. I think we still have a couple of the second print variants available of number 1, but this is out this week if it's not on your list. And then we have Miles Morales 18 second printing. If you missed out or you want this second printing variant, it is also available today.
And that's the issue, is the first full appearance of the Miles clone.
There you go.
He had a cameo in 17. That's his first full appearance, and that's why 18 sold out. And now you can get second print, and he's on the cover and everything. So I've been squirreling away all that stuff.
In your cheeks.
That's right, yeah. So puffy. So the last one I'm going to talk about today that I've read is Dune House Atreides number 1. A lot of people are excited for the Dune movie. The trailer looked really cool. So I read the comic. You can tell somebody who's a real fan of Dune wrote this. They were really trying to make it have that voice and that feeling. Starts out in the desert. Yes, there's a sandworm. Within 2 pages, somebody talks about spice. Andy and I were laughing about that. He doesn't say the spice must flow. It's like he comes up with a new line that's similar to that. But it's good. It was familiar. Once again, it was another one that was a long read.
Like Dune.
Yeah, if it's going to be like the Dune novel, you can't just phone this in and have it be like you flip through in 20 pages. Dune sci-fi is interesting because it falls into the weird. So, for instance, in this, there is a space bullfight. What is bullfighting like in the Dune universe? Well, you can find out, and it's pretty cool. So we got some neat variants. Here is the one variant.
I believe that's the Dan Mora variant.
Yeah, that definitely looks like Mora style. Now you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the blank variant.
It's just be sand.
Yep.
variant.
Like orange.
The spice. But the one I really wanted to show, I gotta take it
Yes.
out of the bag to show it. They have a die cut one
Oh.
with the worm.
I didn't notice that.
The sandworm.
I feel like you get a picture of you and your friends and your family and be like, who wants to get eaten by the sandworm?
I have a feeling we underordered this one because we didn't know how cool
I didn't know
it
it
was
was
going to
a
be.
die cut.
Yeah.
I read it was die cut, but they didn't have it like where I could see.
You can't really tell.
So we are also selling the one per store variant. This is the ink variant for $15. And lastly, the sketch. It is the 1 in 25 sketch variant. You can really tell, like, look how dark the ink one is versus sketch. Jay Lee's so good though. I mean, that sketch one looks great. So that is the Dune.
Dune.
What else do we have to talk about?
I have,
Big week.
yes, Star Wars Bounty Hunter. This is issue 6. We got that great Bermejo cover with Forlom and Zuckuss on it. This we have so many people reading this Star Wars series. It's great. I think it was originally supposed to be a mini-series, but it seems like it's just continues to go. I know the solicits came out.
I mean, why make it a mini-series?
Yeah, it's too great. Bounty Hunters could fill movie after movie. But yeah, just really cool. Came out this week. We've got, I believe, some form of printing of every issue so far of this. So if you haven't read it, you can come and pick it all up and get completely caught up. Great Star Wars stuff.
Okay. I have, up next, a bunch of ratio variants for Mars Attacks Red Sonja number 2. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
you're correct.
Andy was showing me a spoiler image out of this issue.
I think it might be number 3, actually.
It might be number 3.
It is number 3.
That's what I said.
Yes, number 2 already came out.
Very cool covers, though.
This is, I'm going to go in order here of ratio. This is 1 in 11. This is the Stratty variant, and hopefully you could see that image there. And that is just $10. Then we have the 1 in 15 Studium variant black and white.
Which is the Star Wars homage.
Homage, yeah. I think that one's my favorite, but it's tough because it's but it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
I like this one.
It's almost too easy when you draw from Star Wars.
1 in 20 Kitson variant. And then we have the 1 in 25 tinted variant of the Star Wars cover we were just showing, and this is $12.
The tint on it looks a lot like the original Sar Wars cover.
Yeah,
If you
it
just
looks
flash
good.
that in front of somebody, then
Yeah.
it's Star Wars.
All right, got a little bit of a not safe for work, so I'm gonna put this
Ooh,
post-it note over.
we got some booty.
1 in 25. The B stands for booty. Black and
I
white
think
variant.
That might be a Vampirella. That might
Yeah,
Oh.
it's Vampirella.
That's
Vampirella.
Vengeance of
This
Vampirella,
is all-
number
sorry.
11.
I'm gonna go out of order here. Number 11. Yep, for just $10. And then the 1 in 30.
It's our Dynamite Showcase.
Stratty variant. You can see this better in color here. Look at that buff alien.
I know. The aliens didn't look that buff in the movies. They wouldn't need the little guns if they were that buff.
I know. That one is just $14 for 1 in 30 variant. So lots of ratios for the Mars Attacks Red Sonja number 3 and Vampirella.
And for real, there's a last page reveal that
It's pretty fun.
is hilarious and great.
Yep.
Okay, I just have 2 other variants I just want to make people aware that we have. This is the latest Guardians of the Galaxy. It's number 7. It is the Fortnite variant. Yes, they're in a Jeep fighting, and the llama is there. This llama, what a life. Like, I need that llama's life. And then the latest X-Men has a horror variant that I think is very cool.
Yeah, it's
The
good.
X-Monsters. And look, they're all the Universal monsters.
That should be a book. I would read X Monsters.
That would be very cool and write itself. So that is everything I got. Do you guys have anything else?
That is it.
Whew.
At least for the stuff we grabbed.
Yeah.
There's still a ton more.
Still more on
Yeah.
the shelf. to look at. If you are local, you can come look at it in person. If not, shoot us a message. We're happy to send you some pictures and let you know everything that we have. But as always, thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing in this lovely world of comics. And we will see you again next time.
Yep. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye bye.